Malala Yousafzai is a renowned Pakistani activist for women's education and the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in history. Born in 1997 in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, she grew up in a family that valued education. Her father ran a school and supported women's education. However, in 2008, the local Taliban began imposing restrictions on women's access to education, shutting down schools and banning girls from attending. They even destroyed many schools, instilling fear in the community. Furthermore, the Taliban enforced strict regulations on women, punishing those who violated them. For example, girls over the age of 11 were required to cover their entire bodies and eyes with a burqa, as any exposure was considered inappropriate. Women were prohibited from attending school or going out alone, subjecting them to severe oppression through these harsh rules and punishments. In 2009, the BBC sought to document the atrocities of the Taliban, and Malala, without hesitation, took on this dangerous task. At just 11 years old, she began writing a diary for the BBC's website, chronicling the life of fear and violence under Taliban control. In her diary, Malala described how, despite the Taliban's restrictions on women's education, local children refused to give up their right to learn. Girls who wanted to study would secretly gather in small, dimly lit rooms to attend classes. Though the conditions were basic, they felt immense joy simply being able to learn. Her diary, shared through journalists, brought global attention to the issue. Unfortunately, in 2012, Malala's outspoken opposition to the Taliban's restrictions on women's education made her a target. While riding a bus home with her classmates, members of the Taliban stopped the vehicle and shot her 3 times in the head. One bullet passed through her head, neck, and lodged in her shoulder. Though gravely injured in the attack, the bullets did not silence her voice. Instead, they strengthened her resolve to advocate for educational equality. After her recovery, Malala collaborated with a British journalist to publish her memoir, I Am Malala, the girl who stood up for education and was shot by the Taliban. Malala stated that the Taliban thought bullets would silence her, but instead, they took away her fear, weakness, and helplessness, replacing them with strength, courage, and determination. Since then, she has used every opportunity to speak out for girls' education worldwide. Whether delivering a landmark speech at the United Nations or advancing education aid programs through the Malala Fund, her mission remains the same: to advocate that women's right to education should never be infringed by political or religious forces. Education, she insists, is a fundamental human right. Thanks to her tireless efforts, Malala's influence has spread across the globe, and her achievements have earned international recognition. In 2014, she became the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. His honor not only celebrated her personal courage but also stood as a powerful endorsement of global support for women's education. Today, Malala continues to work toward improving educational opportunities worldwide. Her foundation has helped countless girls gain access to schooling, striving to make education a transformative force for changing lives. Through her courage, Malala has shown the world that no matter your age or background, you have the power to change the world. Malala Yousafzai's story is profoundly moving not merely because of the extreme violence and oppression she faced but also due to the resilience and wisdom she demonstrated in such a perilous environment. The Swat Valley, where she grew up, was once a peaceful and serene place, but the rise of Taliban forces quickly destroyed the way of life for its people. Under the Taliban's extreme rule, women were stripped of their most basic rights, and the desire for education became a forbidden luxury. This harsh reality not only deprived countless girls of educational opportunities but also forced local families to struggle to survive under constant fear. However, it was precisely within this context that Malala emerged as one of the few voices daring to challenge injustice. Her courage was not a momentary impulse but stemmed from a profound belief in education and a deep yearning for social justice. For many girls in the region, education was not merely about acquiring knowledge but represented the only pathway to escape oppression and pursue freedom and hope. Under the Taliban's reign of terror, girls were unable to study in normal schools. Their classrooms were often secretive and rudimentary, with the constant risk of being destroyed. Despite these challenges, the girls never abandoned their thirst for learning, and Malala's actions infused their perseverance with even greater courage and confidence. Today, Malala is not only an advocate for education but also a tireless symbol of the fight for equality and freedom. Through her actions, she has shown the world that change does not occur naturally but requires the collective efforts of everyone. Malala's journey continues, and her story will inspire future generations to stand up against injustice and oppression, striving to secure their own and others' rightful freedoms and rights.